Let's see. Let's see who shows up. Oh, I just got back from the gym. Kid and I went to the gym. I'm sweaty. I've sweat my shirt clear through. So let's see who shows up first. Who's going to be the first person? I wanted to talk about some of this stuff last night, but I don't think that the podcast is a place for it because the podcast does go up on Apple iTunes, and I'm starting to get that figured out. Like, I mean, really, it's John Scarborough. Well, good morning, sir. I'll show it there since you're the only one here. I'll show it to you. So let me see. There's a couple people here. I'll wait till I get a few people in here. Guys, I got something cool. It's in for sharpening. We're going to get to see it on the I'm going to get to see it on the channel, but this is a collaboration custom between Ray Laconico and LV Knives. There's very few of these out there. Matter of fact, I didn't see a single video about this version. There is a Lancer 2, but this is not the Lancer 2. This is the original Lancer. So this is my buddy's Tino's. It's in for sharpening. And I want to get some more information from him because he got this from a guy that got this directly from the guys at LV Knives before it ever went up. Action on this is, I mean, it's brutally stiff. This is old school Elliott Williamson Ferrum Forge in-house build kind of stiff, like the lock bar T10. Like, God, dang. So yeah, this is a pretty cool knife, and it's like Tino's got small hands. But he's like, dude, he's like, that knife fits you perfect. And he's like that. Like he's got that much knife. Like just if you took out one of my fingers, that'd be like the size of Tino's hands. So this is a Laconico and LV Knives collaboration. So Ray, Ray's work. You can pick Ray's work out of even with it being not your typical like spear point leaf style blade. So there's 6 people here, and there's 2 paying members here, and that's kind of what this is about. I wanted to tell you guys personally, thank you. I kind of mentioned it in the podcast, how much I appreciate it, and I'm not gonna talk about the membership stuff too much in the podcast because, like I said, it is on YouTube. But I just wanted to thank you guys. You guys have been great. We have a new member. Let me bring it up. If you guys can hang on a second. So we have a new member. And I haven't, let me see here. I got to get logged in. Channel dashboard, that's where I'm going. So we got a new paying member yesterday, and I didn't get a notification. I just happened to notice it like right before where's it at? Right before we closed out last night, right before I got everything put up. So Dilip Voss. Well, here, I can't show it to you, but I'll, let me see if I can copy this and put it in a comment. So we got I'm not even going to try and not even going to try and pronounce the name because I just wouldn't be able to do it. But here is his name. If any of you guys want to, that is our newest paying member. Right there. I'll put it up here on the screen. Not even gonna give it a shot. I'm pretty sure I got a spider bite on my leg. I thought it was just a scratch at first, and then I was like, oh, it might be a mosquito bite, but now it's starting to get that like ulcerate out around it. I'm not gonna show you guys. That would demonetize the feed immediately. So can't hang, need to get ready for a meeting. Yeah, I wish I had that problem at the moment, but I don't. Actually, I don't. I honestly don't miss having to go to meetings. And I wanted to update something else. There's a couple quick updates. I don't know how long I'm going to do this feed. Depends on how many people are here and stuff. But couple quick updates, and I hope this doesn't go over like a turd in a punch bowl. This month is the last month I'm doing a general giveaway just for everyone, because I was talking about it with Jared, and I was talking about it with a couple other creators. You know, if I'm doing giveaways for both, it kind of doesn't incentivize anyone to become a member, and it kind of detracts from the fact that they're paying members. The paying members are supporting the channel. And so this month, I'm giving this away this month. If no one, I think Cat came in. Hey, Shop Cat. Cat just showed up. When that light comes on, Shop Cat's here. I'm giving this away to the general members. If you haven't found the giveaway, not general members, just general anyone. You don't have to be a member. I will do it from time to time, but I'm not going to do it like I do, like I have been, where there's like a monthly giveaway. I'm going to still do giveaways. It's going to be for the paying members. So I'm still going to give this away. No one has claimed that O-Light, so I might save that. I don't know why people enter a giveaway and then never check their messages, but so the guy that won the flashlight still hasn't claimed it. If I haven't heard anything by the end of the month, that will go back into the pool for giveaway stuff. Same with this. If I do the giveaway, because this is, we'll do that giveaway at the end of the month. But yeah, I wanted to thank everybody that's been a member, and I'm gonna, I'm gonna have to start looking at how I do things on the channel monetarily. So my iced coffee. But what was the other update? I had a couple things I was going to talk about. I'm scatterbrained this morning. I was up until late. I got the podcast up on Apple iTunes, and that took, so like we ended the podcast right at 9:30, if not a little bit earlier, and it was midnight by the time I got it all done and up on iTunes. It's a lengthy process, because what I have to do is I have to take the file from here, because I'm currently not on YouTube. I'm not even logged into YouTube right now. I'm on my podcast software, podcast suite. And then I have to save the broadcast, the audio version of the broadcast, and it saves it as an MP5. And then I have to convert it to a WAV file. And then I have to upload the WAV file to Apple. And then I have to process it, and I have to do all the stuff to set it up and get the episodes in place, and then upload it and process it. And if I stop anywhere in there, I have to start all over. Like if I was to close it. Yeah. And I mean, that's what I was getting at. It's not that I don't want everyone to be able to do something. And I still will do from time to time. I have stuff that I can give away from time to time, but I just can't do it all the time. I would much rather, what I've been doing was giving just a general giveaway, and then every once in a while do a paying member one. And I've been thinking about it. And I was like, that's not fair to them. They're supporting the channel. And what are they really getting? Early access and exclusive videos from time to time. What are you talking about, Bradley? The little, so you have that here, but if you're watching the actual live chat on YouTube, you should still see my logo, and it's going to change. So your logo changes the longer you're a paying member. It goes from the all white, then the gray, to then black with just the white everything. And then it starts colorizing until, if you've been a member for 2 years, it gets to a point where it's, it comes up where it shows the full colorized logo. And that's just, so I set those badges up. Now, if I pull you up here, what you'll see is right there, it has the old thing. It doesn't take, when I put your comments up, it doesn't show my custom badges. It just has the default, because I'm not in YouTube. But you guys should see in the live chat, you should see the Cross Swords logo that looks, well, it looks like this. This is what, after 2 years, up here in right here, that's what your logo looks like after like a period of time. See what I mean? Could you guys hear that? That's what it would look like. Now I'm trying to I keep bumping the wrong button. That's what I'm trying to do, is take that out of the corner and put this back up. There you go. Because, you know, there's always a good chance that we're going to have some technical difficulties. I saved that the day that Jared and I did the live feed and we actually had technical difficulties. I saved that like the day before. And I was like, you know what? I might want a technical difficulty stream or screen that I can put up in case something happens. And so what are you doing, Cat? The cat is chasing a fly. So let me get back to the comments here. So yeah, I mean, I changed that. I wanted to be it specific to the channel. I just didn't want it to be random. So I'm not gonna lie to you, it took a while. I had to resize all those photos. I had to change the resolution. I had to change the cropping. I had to make it a specific size. And there was a trial and error. I actually had to download some, I had to download some actual software from Apple to be able to edit those photos. And the same with the one for the podcast, which is just my knife case with two of my knives. I wanted two of the specific colors. I wanted those blue ones. So I had my Olamic and I had my Wii, and I put a beer cap in between them. So, but those are the big major changes. I haven't been doing the daytime live feeds, to tell you the truth, mainly because I'm tired. I'm worn out. I'm trying to get into the groove of this. I'm putting up videos 5 days a week, which a lot of times means that I'm shooting several videos a day to try and get enough stuff set aside to put the videos together and edit them and things like that. All right, Bradley. So that means that, you know, I'm filming a lot of stuff and then finding the time to edit it and still do the live feed. So the podcast, you know, I'm doing minimum 6 hours a week just on the podcast. I'm probably filming. Now, I know it doesn't sound like a lot, like, oh, he's only working 6 hours a week. What you don't see is there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff. Like, I have to spend a lot of time. I have us scheduled all the way out to the 30th. So there's not going to be, I haven't figured out what I'm going to do on Monday, the 30th, the last podcast of the month, because that's my birthday. And I'm not sure how I'm going to handle that one. I don't know if I want to. I really don't even know if I'm going to do a podcast that day, but we'll see. Next Monday, I'm not doing the podcast. We're going to have Wednesday, Thursday next week. So Wednesday, I've got it pretty much planned. Wednesday, we're going to have Stasa on. And then Friday next week is Jake from the Knife Nuts podcast. But this week, we still have Lindy Lou tomorrow. She and Richie are going to be on, and from Knife Modders. And then we're going to have John from BGM Knives on Friday. So I still got that all figured out. And then, like, I have to figure out what I'm going to do the week of the 30th. And then we have a crackhead neighbor who just wanders around, and she showed up, like, she walked. I swear to God, if I hadn't been on film, it would have been much more aggressive. I literally had my pew-pew on the love seat next to me. It was like 84 degrees in this garage yesterday. And so I had the garage door all the way up while we were filming, and I didn't want to stop to close the garage door partway. And she just walks into my garage and is mumbling something. And I was like, literally she almost wound up with a new orifice, because she surprised me because she's coming out of the dark into my lit garage. And I was like, you have no idea how incredibly dangerous that action just was. So she's harmless. She just comes around begging from neighbors, but she's done it twice now. And I don't find it amusing. I find nothing humorous about it. So I gotta hang on a second. I'm gonna turn that light on. Every time I turn it off, then Shopcat walks back in. So you guys will see that on the podcast if you haven't watched it already. But the whole thing is, what I was going to say too, is the podcast has been going really well. I've been enjoying it. There's a lot of comments. There's a lot of good questions. Everybody's been acting like an adult, which is great. I'm really happy about that. So just another plug for the memberships. If you guys are watching and you're not a member, this is what I'm giving away this month to the paying members, premium and basic tier. And I think that's what I'm going to turn it into. I'm going to give something away every month to those 2 tiers. It's only fair. Now, if you join the just looking, it does not enter you into giveaways because that's just what it was. It was good. It was just looking. So that makes it more fair. So the people that are the premium and baseline tier members, they get giveaways. And then if you're a premium tier member, you get access to the sharpening tutorials, which I did get a gooseneck to try and film some of the sharpening tutorial stuff with. I'm going to try that and see. If not, I have another option. I have a small tripod that I borrowed. I'm going to try and see if I can do this so that I can get in. But the problem is even at the higher resolution, it's going to be really hard to do some of the things. I'm not such a big fan of S110V. I like M390. So that's a pretty good question. So independent trading company. Jeremy, when I go back to work, I'll be joining the membership. Hey, you know what? You don't have to. Okay, so Jeremy has supported the channel for years. Jeremy has helped out with the channel and done stuff. So has Jeremy Morris, who's someone you haven't seen in for a while. Jeremy Morris has, literally given thousands of dollars to the cause. He honestly did. And in return, he's gotten some pretty special stuff he still's like, oh, I'm gonna pay for it, but I didn't charge him for the knives that I made for him anything close. Or sometimes I would do work and stuff because he helped out when, he literally donated so much money to the GoFundMe and stuff that I can't ever repay what Jeremy Morris has done for the channel. And Jeremy Russell has been a staunch supporter of the channel for a very long time. So, but I do appreciate that. So, and that's the thing. I don't want it to become, I don't want to be seen as like Darkside Phil on Twitch, where if you don't get a certain amount of super chats and things like that, he starts throwing a fit. I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be seen like that. If you watch the podcast, if you're having fun, that's fine. If you want to donate, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine. I am going to do a video about this. So I wish Beardo was here. I actually had to resharpen this for him. This thing is incredible. This is, if any of you guys know me, I'm really partial to the ADV stuff. I love Andrew's work and Andrew DeVillers, however you say his first. I love the ADV stuff. I've always loved his work. It's been great to have this in, and I actually carried this a lot. I'm going to carry it some more because it looks like I'm setting up an anno shop here at the house. So I'm going to be able to start doing anno. Some of the things I can't do. Some of the things that I want to do, like the stuff that Lindy and them do, but I am going to be able to just do general anodizing. So if you send a knife in for sharpening, I can do just general anodizing and things like that. But yeah, I did a 1000 grit edge and then finished this on an ultrafine ceramic, and it is nasty. It is nasty sharp. So Beardo, when you get this back, you're going to have to be careful. So the only reason I haven't shot a review video of this yet, because it has spent a lot of time in pocket. If you didn't hear, I pulled it out of my pocket because I will tell you guys, because I put this in, the weight difference on these, minimal for such a big knife. I had, my buddy Tino came by the house and he was like, what is that? And I was like, oh, that's the ADV Pit Boss 2. And he was like, oh, I like that. And I was like, I do too. And we looked at the price and he was like, that's a lot of knife for that price. These were less than 400. These are in like the 375, 395 range. That's a lot of knife for that price. And it's well done. So does it have a couple things? Yeah, it does have a couple small things, but overall, this is a great, great knife. So I'd love to get one of these. Would I really carry it? Yeah, I'd carry it. But it has some features on it that are really cool, and the action on it's just amazing. And I love the ADV stuff. It's not translating well. There's not enough light to catch everything, but you guys will see in the video. Great, great fun knife. So we're just kind of killing time so I can cool down before I go take a shower after workout. Oh, And then if you guys haven't seen it, I talked about it on the podcast last night. I am going, jeez, I can't believe I'm saying this out loud. I am planning on doing the Pocky One Chip Challenge on the channel. I'm going to do it live, do it on the couch, and I'm going to, but the whole point of me doing this, and I want to make sure I get the information out before I up and just do it, is this is to be done as a fundraiser for my daughter's upcoming skating season. As you guys know, she's been fighting with injuries and stuff, hasn't had much ice time this year. She didn't compete this year, but this next coming season, we're pretty much figuring that she's getting through these. Right now, it's just growing pains. She's growing so fast it hurts. So that's going to be something I do. I'm going to do a GoFundMe. I do one pretty much every year, and then people complain about me doing a GoFundMe. Just go get a job. And I was like, oh, I can't explain it to you any better than I already have as to why I'm not at work. But I'm going to do that as well, and we're going to do that on the channel, and we'll see how much we get. I'm still going to do, even if I don't get what I'm hoping, the amount that I'm like thinking that might happen from that with super chat stuff. Even if I don't get it, I'm still going to eat it live for you guys. But I ate pepperoni yesterday, and I still have heartburn. This is gonna suck. I ate like a snack pepperoni stick like a day or so ago. I still have heartburn. And I'm like, that's going to kill me. I did it. I did the Pocky One Chip Challenge a while ago, a few years ago, and it was horrible. And apparently this one's worse. So Knife Nuts Jake just sent me something, I think, here. So we were talking about, I was like, I forget what I said. Ari, so he's like, we were talking about I put the technical difficulties thing up, and he was like, yeah, that's way better than Dave and Brian just verbally assaulting me for like 2 minutes. He said he's going to try and break something right before the live feed goes up. So if you guys know the Knife Nuts podcast, there's always technical difficulties, and it's usually Jake. And that's why I want Jake on there, because Jake winds up being the, almost the comic relief for it. So you guys, I'm not going to stay on here too long. I know you guys are busy. Oh wait, have I ever tried? Yeah, I've tried. Those are bad. I used to do all the spicy. I actually enjoy really spicy food. Problem is I still love it, but the problem is that I have so many. I'm getting old, and it's probably a gallbladder thing. I think like spicy food usually doesn't do it to me too badly. It's the greasy and spicy, like the pepperoni. Those were those hot pepperoni sticks, and they're really greasy. I think that's what did it. And we'll see. But like I said, I'm going to do that hot chip, the spiciest chip in the world challenge on here. Now, I'm not planning, so that you guys know, I'm not at all planning to do the 5-minute. Don't drink any, I'll do it as long as I can, and I'm going to drink some milk and stuff like that. But yeah, I have done that ×2 spicy noodle challenge. They are hot, but I've also eaten a ghost chili and a bunch of other like hot, spicy. I did some of the Dave's Insanity hot sauce thing, like a spoonful of it, stuff like that. Like the super hot, I think that was like almost 1 million or 500,000. But I haven't eaten a lot of really spicy food for a long time. I still like the habanero hot sauce chicken wings I make, but that's, wrecked them. Damn near killed them. So last night's podcast was a little bit different because Josh isn't so much a knife guy. Josh is more one of those 2A community firearms types. But with him being a Marine, it made it a lot of fun. And he's a pretty good guy. And we talked about it. We shared some of the same job titles, even though he was a Marine, I was in the Navy. We both were machine gun instructors. And we talked about like guys that didn't know how to use a 50 cal machine gun and didn't know what headspace and timing was. We talked about a specific piece of equipment. I said, I still have one. I carried this in my pocket for years. It's a headspace and timing gauge for 50 cal machine gun. I've had this since I was like, I had a chief give me this And he's like, put that in your pocket. It's yours. Put it in your pocket. It's yours forever. And I'm like, okay. He's like, I've had it. He's like, I've carried it. He was retiring. He goes, here, take this. He's like, because you're the guy that sets up the 50 cal machine guns on the ship. And I was like, okay. And so I've carried this since I was probably 20, 21. I've had this for a long time. You can tell it's old. It's been well carried. I never understood the chain and everything got black, and then these aluminum pieces. So I've had a headspace and time engaged I carried from place to place forever, because 2 is 1, 1 is none. If there's one already on station, I've already got one in my pocket, you know. Don't need it. It's just a piece of my memorabilia that I have from being in the military. I also have they were throwing a bunch of this stuff away. I have a grenade launcher attachment for an M14. That it was the line firing kit that we used. And I was like, I got one of those. That they were throwing them out. And I was like, no, I need one of those. I need one of those. And they're like, why? And I was like, because it's a piece of the naval history that I enjoyed. I always liked firing a line from ship to ship. So you guys don't know what I'm talking about. One of these days I'll pull up a video. For underway replenishment, you have to fire a line from one ship to the other. It's a big rubber projectile with a piece of, we call it a shot line. And you fire it across, and then they pick it up and they pull it through, and then they pull a lead line through, and then it goes like back and forth, and you pull it through, and it's so that you can because is a great answer. What do you want that? Just because. Alan remembers when we were on that's my old roommate, Alan. Bosun bet me, if he remembers, Bosun bet me that I couldn't fire from the starboard fueling station into the crane operator's booth for the crane operator's booth. He's like, I bet you can't. He's like, if you can hit the crane operator's booth, I'll give you $100. And I fired the projectile, and I was like, boom. And I fired it into and bounced it off the crane operators into the crane operator's booth from the top, because there's a window that opens because it gets hot in that glass booth. So there was a window that opens, and I dropped it right in. And Bosun was like, all right, I'll give you $100. Tyler Payne, S125V or M398. I have never done anything or dealt with M398. I have made knives in S125V, and it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare to deal with and make a knife out of. But the flip side is I've made 2 knives for my buddy Tino in S125V, 2 customs in it, and with a I did my own heat treat on it. And I will tell you, I made him a custom version of my Sea Snake that you guys can get in the affiliate links, the same one that you see like the little ads for that I do before the premieres. I made a knife for him in that. I made a Sea Snake for him in that. He uses it all the time. He cuts cardboard with it constantly. And I can honestly say I made it for him like 3 years ago. And I think I've only had to sharpen it once, maybe twice. It's an insane steel. Flip side is really hard to do, really touchy on heat treat, really, really difficult to grind. It just eats through, like you can't, like it's so wear resistant, abrasive resistant. It takes forever to grind it. And you go through a lot of belts. So flip side of that is wear resistance, like the finish, like he uses it all the time. And the finish that I put on that knife, which was a deep blast and then heavy stonewash tumble. It's like, you can't, it's not really even scratched. The finish is still good on it. And I've like literally watched him cut up an entire 55-gallon one of your 50-gallon like domestic trash cans, the big blue ones, the recycling bins, completely full of cardboard. We cut up all the boxes that his lawn furniture came in, and it was just, we were like, holy crap! It just didn't get dull. I went through 3 of my knives, cutting up all that cardboard. I went through my sea snake. I went through, like, it just was dull. I went through my Spenza. It was dull. I went through, I want to say I went through some, I used a bunch of different knives. I had a bunch of different knives there that day, and we cut it all up. Hey, Alex, what's going on? I bet it's nasty, hot, and humid where you're at. Well, yeah, it's August. Next month, if you're still there next month, that's where it has tendency to start raining. It cools down, it starts raining, and then the entire country turns into pudding. If you're still in Bahrain. Oh. Well, the sea snake does great, and you can strop it up real easy. But if you had a custom one, it lasts forever. Seriously. Ooh, yeah, you're gonna go through that rainy season. We were there. I was there for the worst monsoon season and flooding that they had in like 25 years. I was there for that. And there's some others. There's some others that are out there. I just don't personally like them in production. That's where, like, people are like, oh, Maximat, Rex 121, and I was like, yeah. But the problem with what they do in production is the grinds they put on them and how thick they are and stuff like that. And so trying to sharpen those insane steel, it's just it's like you can't just do it on site. And that's my big thing with it. But S125V is another one that, like, you can't, like, you're not gonna have the stuff if it gets dull. Like, if you're out somewhere and it gets dull, you're not gonna be able to sharpen that. You just can't. There's no way you're gonna be able to sharpen that on your own out somewhere unless you have an entire, like, set of diamond stones or something like that. Or if you, in case you maybe just have, like, just one stone, you could probably touch it up. If you have a, like, I got a couple of them, like these are those Vinev diamond stones. If you got one of these in your pack, you probably do it. So yeah, I mean, it does do a really good job. And a lot of that is the edge geometry. Even if that knife is dull, it will still cut. I just made a hollow ground version. It's over here. Hang on a second. Let me grab it. I made a hollow ground version of this knife for Matt recently. Where'd it go? I made a custom hollow ground version of this knife for Matt. And because I ground it so thin behind the edge, even if it was dull, it would still cut. Now, I ground this one extremely thin, but this is on extremely thin stock to begin with. This is one I made for my daughter. This is her knife. It just sits here because she doesn't carry it. So I do. This is the Habu. This was the first this was actually done well before the sea snake ever became a thing. So before this, there was this. So this is the Habu. Ooh, I want one. Well, I'm trying to get it done production. I might do a couple more customs of it. Where did I put the sheath for that? Like, I literally just had the sheath for this. Guys, I'm losing my mind. There it is. So, ooh, I want one. You know what I never did? I never measured the behind the edge thickness. What's the handle material? This is, it's a type of shredded carbon fiber. And I used mosaic pins. And then I put because she was into Star Wars with me at the time, I put the Rebel Alliance logo in the steel. I mean, Alex, I can do a custom. I have a grinder here at the house. So yeah, that was shredded carbon fiber. It needs repolished. This was very, very rough. This was the second knife I ever made. And I mean, I even went to the part of putting a ghosted image that's actually in the steel. Okay, now where would you put RWL? Because somebody asked a good question here. Okay, now where would you put RWL comparative to other steels? Just got a custom knife. I love RWL 34. That's my favorite knife ever is in RWL 34. And it does a great job. That a 3-inch blade ish, guys. So if you ever look at the specs on my knives, there's never like, oh, it's like 3 1/4, or it's 3 even, or it's 3 1/2. It's always some weird like 3 and some weird fraction, and people are like, why is that? And it's because I make the handle first, because I know how I want it to feel. And if the handle, and then I just put a blade on it that is the length of blade that I would want to use for whatever it is. So you get some weird overall thicknesses and you get some weird blade thicknesses. I don't measure anything out. When I make a knife, I just do it from feel. It's okay. So we're going to go through this again. Comparing RWL 34 to 154 CM is no different than comparing an apple to a watermelon. Even though they may be close in composition, close in steel gets you vastly different results. You can add one small component to a steel, and you can look at it and go, well, that's just a very small additional element in the entire chemical makeup of it, and wind up with something that is completely different. It's comparable to 154 CM, but RWL definitely is a cleaner steel. It's got a better grain structure. It's super receptive to, even at a lower grit, taking a really polished edge. Like literally, that's fairly polished. Guys, that's a 400 grit edge. How does the fat finger choil feel if it fits your big ass? Are you talking about this? Well, that's a 1/2 inch. That's a 1/2 inch choil, so I can get all up in that first knuckle, because that was done on a 1/2 inch contact wheel. But let me grab my calipers. Now that I've done a couple, and I actually, yeah, it's a powdered, RWL is a powdered metallurgy. And there's definite chemical differences. And like, okay, so Jared's here. I love this. Jared, did you hear my analogy? Comparing two different steels, even though they may be close in chemistry, if there's differences, it's basically the difference between an apple and a watermelon. You're not comparing apples and oranges when you're talking about the chemistry of steels. You're comparing apples and watermelons. There's just no way to actually compare it. Hang on a second. I want to get the calipers. I want to see how thin I ground this, because I was very aggressive with how thin I ground that, because I was still learning, and I was like, all right, let's see what I can do. Let me get my calipers. So I've made a couple knives that were like super thin. So, do you know why you see a lot of French makers? Because RWL comes out of the same company that makes Damasteel, which is a European company. And so the trade imports and things like that are a lot less. I like RWL. It's like one of those really super good all-around steels. Let's turn this on. I don't want it in fractions. Okay, so that is completely zeroed. Let's see. So right behind the edge on this. Okay, so I don't know if you guys can see that. That is 0.00. Oh, I slid it down. I'm sorry. Let me do this so you guys can see. That is less than 0.001. And that's behind the edge thickness, because you can see there was some bite on that. 0.009. This is possibly, like, this one is scary. Our M390 is done by Bowler Udelholm, the same people that make LMAX, the same people that made a bunch of other stuff. But so Bowler Udelholm is really hard to get stuff from, because the thing is, M390 So when you talk about M390, I don't know if you guys know that M390 was designed for the plastic cutting industry. So it's designed for cutting plastic because plastic is really, really hard on an edge. And so the tools and things that they were making out of it. So like for knife makers to get M390, that Bowler M390, they were having to compete with companies that were purchasing it in mass quantities. And so if you were a knife maker, even if you were like, well, I'm buying like $3,000 worth, like 2 sheets, they're like, yeah, your 2 sheets versus this company's pallet of sheets that is literally millions of dollars worth of steel. And so they weren't really easy to deal with. I think they've gotten better about it because they realized that there's other steels. LMAX as well was initially designed for the plastics cutting industry, like for cutting plastics, because it doesn't dull out as bad. They just happen to share qualities that make really good knife steels. So let me put these back before I drop them and ruin them. 0.009 behind the edge thickness. Now this is 440C. So this is 440C, and I can't remember if we did a cryo quench on this or not. I think this is 440 with a cryo. I can't remember. It's the second knife I ever made. I like LMAX a lot too. LMAX is one of those ones, I meant to mention it. Do you guys want to talk about LMAX and the Jay Davis thing? There was a guy, and he was a YouTuber, and he had a big following. His name was Jay Davis, and I can't remember what his actual YouTube handle was, but so he had this big stink about steels, and he did all these cut testing videos, and he actually got punched in the face by Chris Reeve at Blade Show because he was really mouthy. And so he got a knife, and this is where I say, like, you got, like, people are like, yeah, the Bowler Udelham is a huge steel knife. There's a lot of steels. N690 was a Bowler steel. It came out of Bowler Udelham. So at any rate, he did a bunch of sharpening videos, and he did a bunch of cut test videos, and he did a lot of sisal rope videos, which is okay. And that's like, I got into it with some guys about, like, yeah, cutting sisal rope and cutting cardboard and doing it yourself. Well, that's a good objective test. It's not a scientific test because no two bundles of rope you're going to get are going to be the same. And, you want to try and take things out of the equation that are variables, and doing it in a scientific fashion can. Now, I don't agree that even the Catra testing, which is duplicatable, I don't know if that's a good test or not, because you might get some different variables. But anytime you're doing things by hand, your pressure could vary, and you might not be using the same blade. Your testing materials may vary and things like that. But it's an objective test, but not scientific. But at any rate, he did this thing about LMAX, and he was like, LMAX, it's not good. It won't hold an edge. And he was calling companies out that they had done things wrong. And what it was, a lot of times with LMAX, was just a matter of, it's really picky. Like it can lose its temper pretty easy. And what was happening was people were sharpening it and were not making sure they had enough coolant on it. And they were sharpening it on a grinder, and they were burning the edge at the very apex. I had a knife, and it was the DOC. And when I first got it, I'm like, oh, it's LMAX. Let me try this out. And I had watched some of Jay Davis videos, and I had the same issue. Like, I'd use it, and it just got dull. And then I sharpened it, and I used it, and it got dull. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. And then I used it. I sharpened it, and then I used it, and it didn't get quite as dull. And then I sharpened it again, and I have had zero issues with it since. So a lot of times it was just that people, when they would grind that initial edge on it, they were just burning the apex, which is easy to do. What steel would you say have the best edge performance while still being easy to work with? Are you talking from a making perspective, or are you talking about like from a sharpening perspective? Because it's different. Because I got news for you. Like, it's, from what I understand, I haven't done it yet, but making a knife in S30V is not real difficult. Oops. Maker's perspective. The problem is when you get to a point where you get the best edge performance, a lot of times those are the same qualities that are going to make it difficult to work with. 20 CV is pretty wear resistant, pretty impact resistant, things like that, which is great. 20 CV it can be challenging to work with, especially if you're doing a heat treat like I do, where it's at like 64 Rockwell. It's hard to grind it, and it takes a while, and you got to have some patience, and because you do it in a hardened state, that way there's less chance of errors and stuff. And it is a lot easier to grind a hardened knife than it is a softer steels are way harder to grind because the belt likes to grab and you get facets and things. Your belts last longer. It's harder to work with. Harder steels, you can keep more consistent. The abrasives kind of slide on them a little bit as opposed to biting, and then they want to grab your belt. But those same qualities make it hard to, make your edge retention great. S125V, it's a nightmare to work with. Edge retention is going to be out of this world, especially with a custom heat treat on it. Go watch Big Brown Bear talking about grinding. Go watch Big Brown Bear and see if he talks about the nightmare it is to grind some of those super steels like M390 or not M390, Maximet and Rex 121 and things like that. And just the nightmare that it is to be able to even afford abrasives to do it. But then the flip side of it is, like, if you see some of his stuff that he's doing, I guarantee that those knives are going to hold an edge forever. And I've sharpened LMAX that he has ground and that he had heat treat on. I sharpened LMAX at Blade Show West on a diamond, on a vitrified diamond or vitrified CBD stone. Was it? It's not CBD. It's what are the stones? They're not the diamond. They're the CBD is the cream that I put on my shoulders because they hurt. At any rate, I sharpened those, and I'm like, okay, see this on a good thin ground knife that is done. Not DMT, CBN. There it is, CBN. Thank you. I knew it was another one of those cannabinoids. CBN's one that makes you get sleepy. Like, oh, I got sleep. Take CBN. DMT is a completely different class of recreational items. Yeah, CBN. But yeah, I so with his heat treat and with his grind, it being thin and done well, I don't have an issue with it. And Maximet has its place in a folding knife that I'm going to carry. Not so much. The grinds usually aren't great. The edges are really, really coarse and rough. I've never seen a production knife that in Rex 121 or Maximet that came with a good edge. Like, you would have to do it yourself. And if you've ever sharpened Maximet, it's a nightmare. It really is. I know Jared has. It's a nightmare, even with the proper diamond plates and stuff. So, Jared, you need to send me information about that diamond plate. I got to replace this. And if you say there's one that's every bit as good but not as expensive, give me the information because I've got to get it ordered. I was sharpening and had to completely reprofile a knife a couple nights ago. It was like 10, 11 o'clock at night, and I started on it. I was like, oh, it shouldn't be that big a deal. And that plate is just ruined. I put an edge on this for Tino. That is a 10,000 grit edge on a Anza, big-ass Anza. File work on a file. Believe that? This thing. I'm not going to lie. As much as I like everybody over at Anza Knives, they are some nice people. Their edge consistency, can you see that? Is not great. This side was fairly okay. That side, can you see that? Right there. And up here, it was bad. Yeah, MaxMet sucks to sharpen. Oh, Jared. Cool. Thanks, Jared. I appreciate it. I have to take a look. We may talk about, I don't know what MaxMet or M390. M3. I would take M390. I don't need MaxMet. I actually prefer the steels that are a lot easier just to maintain. ARPM9, S35VN if it's done well. RWL34, those touch up really easily, and there's some other steels that do too. 440, 420C. I'd like for you to get some S45 to get it. I would love to try and make something out of S45VN. I have a knife in S45VN. It's right here. And I like it. It seems to hold up really well. This in CPM S45VN has held up really well, and it gets used a lot. This is great, and I would like to get some 14C28N. Problem is, the last time I looked, I couldn't get any. Me and Jake were talking about it from over at Jacob Creates. Jake Ginsburg was talking about. He's like, well, next time I order steel, if you want to jump in on it. And I was like, well, right now I don't have any money to throw at it. I would have to get a customer that wants it so that I could be able to, I'd be like, all right, this is the cost of the steel and all those things. So what's up, Todd? You're running a little late, and it's still morning here. It's like 10 o'clock. I'm not gonna run this too long. It's an hour. We'll just do an hour. But I haven't been doing like the morning live feeds because I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Like, I'm spending 6 hours a week just doing live feed, and then there's another. Like I said, there was like 2.5 hours getting it put up on. Now that I'm doing it on Apple Podcasts, there's another like 2.5 hours involved in that as well. This is my workout hat. Where's my? It's like, what do I keep smelling? It's my workout hat. So, so I'm not a big fan of 3V. As much as it is a good steel, it's a really, really good steel. If you can keep, I'm not a fan of having to, like in a fixed blade, yes. In a folding knife, no. In a fixed blade where I'm going to have it in my pack or I'm going to have it on my belt and there's less of a chance that it's going to get as much moisture and things like that. Yes, absolutely. 3V and a fixed blade. In a folding knife, no. In my pocket, guys, I can make knives that usually won't rust. I don't know what it is about I actually had a spot on this that I cleaned up the other day because this gets carried all the time. And I just cleaned it. Luckily, this is pretty stainless and it was just some minor surface inconsistencies. D2. Hey, there's our newest paying member. I mentioned it earlier. I put it up. Welcome to the memberships. Cool that you're now a paying member. You get you're in on this giveaway now. So, but yeah, the reason I was real cautious with that Sencut Actium because I know what I can do to D2. So I was real careful. I made sure that when I was using it, I kept it clean. I kept it wiped off. I kept oil and stuff on it, and then to get it back to Jared with as little corrosion as possible. I am famous for carrying a D2 knife for like a week and then have to blast and refinish it because it's just rusty. Like even the edge, like the apex will get rusty. People are like, wow, you don't take care of your knife. And I'm like, bro, I literally sharpened that like 3 days ago. So new member. Way to go, Tyler. All right, cool. Now I can't see like yet, and now I have to add you guys. So if you guys know, I do a text crawl at the end of the videos where all the paying members are. You guys won't see that for a few videos. I have a bunch of videos that I have edited and are up, and I have a couple that I'm not happy with. They may not go up. I shot a video about a couple of the things that Jared sent me the other day. I did a first impressions video. And I wasn't happy with it. So I think I'm probably going to either reshoot those or try to creatively edit them So it might be a few days to a week or so before you see your name at the end of the videos, but know that I am putting them in. So I've got 2 new members to add. So they'll be in the end of that text crawl. So guys, I did a rowing machine this morning and my shoulder really hurts. I've had a lot of surgeries on this shoulder and like my trap muscles just like they want to cramp up today. So, well, I'm glad. So, but I like to call it out and I like to make sure that people know because like I said, you guys are paying to support the channel and that's amazing. And as much as I get upset with YouTube about policies and things, I can't get us. They've let me have access to this well before like Jared is just now hitting 10,000 subscribers. So he's just now getting access to something I've been able to have as a beta tester for a while now. And I guess squeaky wheel gets the grease. I've made enough noise. I can't tell you everything that I had to sign a non-disclosure agreement with YouTube, Google, and Alphabet Corporation because I'm in a beta tester thing. So there's things that you're going to see on my channel that you won't see anywhere else. There'll be little features that you see me able to do that you're not seeing other channels. There's a very limited number of us. When you look at, I think there's like 20,000 beta testers that got entered into this program. And so the fact is that like, I can't tell you any of the stuff about it, but I am in it. So you're going to see stuff come up on my channel that you don't see anywhere else. And unless you follow a very, very diverse spectrum and are like, oh, that's a lot of people for beta testing. Well, the fact is you think of how many creators are literally how many literal channels are out there. And that's, Todd, if I need to use I could go to the base and use the hot tub at the base for free. I'm not putting a hot tub here. I just don't want to. I don't want to go there. I'm going to take a hot shower here in a few minutes anyway. So, but yeah, so big takeaways, bro. I've had, you remember when I had my first shoulder surgery, right? When they cut my collarbone off to make room and expand that joint because I had so much scar tissue in there. And then second surgery was to get debris out, like bone chunks or something that had come loose. So they scoped my shoulder a second time. And then I had another surgery that they had to split into 2 different surgeries because I had parted my bicep and done a massive tear. And they had to take more bone out to do it and then re-anchor. They had to re-anchor my bicep and the lateral, I can't remember what they call it. Like there's a tendon, it keeps your shoulder from coming out of place. So I have 2 new anchors. So I've had 4 total shoulder surgeries. And if you look, the shoulder, like I got one shoulder that hangs weird. If I sit, you can see there's a complete different shape to this shoulder. It's because I don't have a collarbone anymore. They cut my collarbone off. It's completely gone. It ends right there. Beardo. I was just telling everybody, I was hoping you would log in before I left. I carried this enough that you have a new fresh edge on your knife. And I want you to be ever so cautious with this because this is a nasty edge. I did 1,000 grit and then finished it on an ultrafine ceramic. And this is nasty. It's nasty, scary. I'm going to do a final review of it. And it looks as though if you want to let me hold on to this for a while, because I really like carrying it. If you Mel Gibson on Lethal Weapon. Yeah, well, it would just, this thing had just come in. It would come out. It would drop out of socket on its own. It just did whatever it wanted, and they had to do a lot of stuff to keep it from doing that. And it was a lot of damage that was done to that arm. I mean, but at least I can do this now. I couldn't do that for a lot of years. At any rate, what I was saying, Beardo, was it looks like I'm setting up the ano setup here. Now, I do need to get a buffing wheel to do some of the stuff I want to do and things like that. But I definitely have to be careful how I do this because if I'm doing buffing outside, I got to find some way to hold onto this hardware without marring it so I can do some polishing and things like that. So we shall see, but it looks like I'm setting up an ano setup directly to my right or possibly in the yard. So Tino has all the stuff. He just doesn't have a place to do it. I don't have any of this stuff, but I have a place. So it made sense for us basically to set up his anno facility at my house, but no ceramic coatings, things like that. I don't have the capability to blast here and things like that. So this is nasty sharp, buddy. I'm not gonna lie. Like this thing it's for such a big knife. Okay, I'm at an hour. I want to end this, but for such a big knife, it has such an incredible edge profile. I mean, I'm cutting. You probably couldn't see them, but I'm just cutting little wisps off of it, and I'm not trying. It's sick. Just touch cutting, and that's magazine paper. So that's a better metric of your edge. You know, the coarser the paper, the easier it is to cut. So, I mean, it's up there with the edge that this nasty little thing takes. So yeah, guys, that's it. Now I've made a mess that I have to clean up. I got to go take a shower and stuff. There's a video that goes up today. I have not picked which one. Keep your eyes open. 4 p.m. Unless I put up a post saying that I'm not going to be able to do it, there will be a video that goes up 5 days a week. And we will do the podcast tomorrow. Remember, tomorrow is Lindy Lou and Josh B or Richie B from Knife Modders. The 20th, Friday the 20th, is John from BGM Knives. I got to reach out to him, make sure that's still good. Then Monday the 23rd, I'm not doing the podcast because I do get my second dose of the Fauci Ouchie. I didn't feel great from the first dose. So I'm pretty sure that I'm going to feel like crap for a day or two. So I'm going to cancel that video, that podcast. And then Wednesday, that would be the 25th. I've got Jake from the knife. I got Stasa 23 if his internet works. And then on Friday the 27th is Jake from the Knife Nuts podcast. And after that following Monday, I don't have anything scheduled for that Wednesday or that Friday. But the 30th is my birthday, and I have not decided what we're going to do that day. I don't know if I'm going to have a guest. I don't know if that may be the day. I don't know if I want to ruin my birthday. That may be the day I do the Pocky One Chip Challenge. Depends on how much interest I get into it, because like I said, that's going to be a fundraiser for my daughter's skating. So for her next season. So I don't know. I'm going to reach out to a few more people, see who I can get to come on. There's other knife makers. And it's not always going to be a knife maker or a knife reviewer or a knife designer. There's going to be other people that I'd like to have come on. There's stuff like that. No, I'm not. Here's the thing, guys. Like I joke about it. Like, I don't want you to think I drink every day. I drink every day, but I just don't want you to think it. It's not like that. I think I had 2 beers during the podcast last night. It's called the Beer and Blades podcast just because, well, I've typically had that. I've had that thing where I was drinking on the channel. Now I don't drink. I had a period of my life where I went off the rails and I drank way too much. A lot of people called me out. People were talking about it in videos. Birdshot even mentioned it, and I do know that. But like I said, I had some PTSD I hadn't dealt with and didn't want to deal with, and some other stuff going on. And so it was, that's kind of what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking that I would do a members only, like to even drop I'd have to figure out how I'm going to set it up. Like, I got to figure out how to do it. So I start it from here and I go into the settings and then I make it, because I can do a members only where only members can comment. But the fact is, I don't know how many actual members I'd be able to get at one time. So I don't know if I want to do it that way. I'm not sure yet what I want to do for my birthday. And I'm pretty sure I know that I don't want to do that Pocky One Chip Challenge at all. But I'm already pretty sure that that's what I'm going to do, because I think I'll do it like I said, as a fundraiser for my daughter's figure skating season that's coming up this next year. And I'm probably going to do a GoFundMe. I do one every year. So that's I'm talking, I can do that here, Beardo. I can do that right here. This is like Zoom, except I can load it directly to YouTube and other platforms. So, all right, guys, it's been an hour. I've got a bunch of stuff I got to do. I have to at least try and get these other videos filmed, and the ones that I already filmed edited. I only have 3 videos ready for this week, and we used one of them yesterday. We're going to use another today. I have got to keep up with the schedule of shooting and editing. So not quite sure yet what I'm going to shoot today. I got to pick out what I want to have out for first impressions. And then I'm going to do a fast 5. I have a bunch of knives here. And then last thing before we go, the gentleman that purchased these was the gentleman I was talking about that just did not contact me, finally contacted me. We got it set up. I'm shipping him his stuff. So anybody, the guys that were going on, it's like, you're such a piece of shit. Politics get in the way. I was like, I'm not the one. Like, I didn't have his address and he was not responding. These are staying. So I haven't decided what I'm doing with these yet, but he just can't get customs clearance for these. So I think I have the only, I have the only full collection of all 3 types of the triple actions. I have the double-edged. Yeah, I've played with these a lot. I have the serrated. And I have the clean Tonto. So whoever winds up with these, if I do decide I'm going to sell them, I'm going to warn you. What you saw me doing is a very time-intensive skill to learn, and it still doesn't always work, and you can hurt yourself very badly. That is my disclaimer. I have all 3 versions of those. Yeah, I know people want them so bad. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. I haven't decided yet. So they basically became property of the channel again. I have his box over here. I have the customs forms to get them overseas. I'm going to do, that's the other thing I can do today. I have got a bunch of stuff to send out to customers. So I have packages here. So if you have knives here and they're in for sharpening, they're going out today. Ken's went out yesterday. So the only thing that's going out is the stuff overseas, and it might not go out for a couple days because I want to get the other stuff ready to go. So, all right, guys, I gotta get off here. It's been more than an hour. I don't like doing it more than an hour. So I love you all. Take it easy. I will see you all next time. If you really want to take a look down below, if you got something you need to buy on Amazon, I have affiliate links down below that are like if you go on Amazon, even if it's not if you click on something and then it goes down, you can, anything you purchase still, once you're in that link, just you keep doing it. So if you're going to buy stuff on Amazon, use my affiliate links. There is a link to the shirt store for my merch. And there's also a 10% coupon code. You save 10% with the coupon code. So you can go to the store, either Ember Shirt Co. and look at all their stuff, or you can go directly to my merch store. But if you use the code CrazySharp, capital C, capital S, all one word, CrazySharp, you save 10% at checkout. So guys, take it easy. Dilip, is it Dilip? Welcome to the memberships, and I forget who else joined. Tyler. Thank you for becoming paying members. I'll definitely get you guys up in the text scroll. I don't know if I even pronounced that correctly. Definitely not going to try and pronounce your last name. I'm a big dumb hillbilly and I can barely pronounce mine. So you guys take it easy. Love you. See you next time.